Okay, hello, my name is William Marks, and today I am doing my anti-money laundering homework. And for this homework assignment, we are asked to talk about Joe, who is an expert in fake high-end consumer products. In this day and age, everyone's looking for counterfeit items, they're getting more realistic, and the prices are way cheaper than the originals. Now, counterfeiting has become such a large part of the global economy. So much so that a statistic I found, it's 12.5% of all of China's exports are counterfeit goods. Now, due to this rising popularity in counterfeit items, the United States government is working in just many different ways to try and combat and crack down on, counterfeit items such as Joe's. Now, if I were Joe, the first question I would have to ask myself is, how would I be able to sell all my counterfeit consumer goods online without being detected? Well, this is kind of where money laundering comes in. And when I asked this question, the first thing that came to my mind was I thought of my friend Brian from high school, who had just a lot of different NBA jerseys. And, any social event, party, he would wear these NBA jerseys. And I always wondered, how does this high school kid have all this money to buy all these different NBA jerseys? And so he showed me these websites such as DHgate, AliExpress, and they sold these counterfeit items so much cheaper. And I'm like, how is this legal? Now, I did some more research, and it turns out 70% of all counterfeit goods are sold online through third-party marketplaces. Now, these marketplaces such as DHgate and AliExpress, they do a very poor job of vetting for potential fraud and fraudulent items. It's not even these foreign third-party marketplaces. Even huge American companies such as Amazon have had trouble with selling fraudulent materials. Now, so if Joe is able to slip through the cracks of a lackluster vetting system put into place by these third-party vendors, he can successfully sell his fraudulent materials on, one of these third-party marketplaces. And even in the book, page 614 of our scam textbook, it labels one of the opportunities for e-commerce fraud as the inability to distinguish large and/or established companies from new or smaller companies, making it easy to deceive customers by falsifying business descriptions. So now he has his way of selling his merchandise. And now he's found a way to sell his items on the internet. So Joe has to find a way to be able to hide this revenue from the government. Now, what Joe should do is purchase a small cash-based business. It could be a barbershop, a laundromat, kind of how you got the name money laundering. And having the business, it's essential that it must be cash-based, because if it's cash-based, it is a lot harder to track, no receipts. Now, so it's essential for Joe, once he has all that money in his business, he can falsify his financial records, make it look like it's, extra revenue, that, maybe business has been booming. How can they tell it's a cash-based business? And so once he has all this extra money, what he needs to do is set up a bunch of offshore accounts, and preferably in a foreign country that the banks really don't look into, or maybe they turn their head away to potential fraudulent activity. If he can put the money in those banks, and then he needs to be able to convert that dirty money to clean money. And how does he do this? Now that he has this money in these different offshore accounts, he can buy assets such as stocks, bonds, real estate, cars, whatever it may be. He buys those assets. And now that he has those assets, he can then liquidate, sell all of them off, convert into US cash, and then suddenly all of this dirty money is clean as usual. And, he can continue to do this until he slips up upon the way. But this scheme, it has all the levels of money laundering. It has placement, it has layering, it has integration. The placement is putting it in the barbershop, his own small cash-based business. The layering has to do with, putting it in a bunch of different offshore accounts, and then buying stocks, bonds, at just different assets. And then in the end, he converts it back into US cash, and he could buy boats, real estate again. And it's all about just really making this not traceable and making it hard to trace.